Well, how's everybody doing? Some of you have already seen this Kubota skid steer in one of the previous videos here. We just got this skid steer a couple days ago, and it's been in service here for a couple days now. This is an SSV65 skid steer made by Kubota, obviously, and it's going to do the job that the 318G did, and that is, it's just going to be pushing feed in. We've got a blade here that we use to push feed in, and then we've got a bucket over there, and we divide feed up, and that's all this machine does in this position here on the farm. We ended up trading in a 318D skid steer that had about 8,000 hours on it. This skid steer we've had just a little more than 2 years now, and what we do is we usually when we buy a new skid steer, we put it in the feed, and then just kind of keep moving skid steers down through the line here to do other various things around the farm. Just their chore skid steers. We've got 5 of them in all for doing work around the barns here, cleaning barns, carrying big bales, pushing feed in, moving feed, and feeding calves and whatnot. And we've got 2 larger machines, a 326E and a 333G, not a G, it's a 333D that has tracks on it, so we've only got one track machine. All the other skid steers that we have are this size here. They're the 318s. We've got 1D and a couple of E's and the G here, and now the Kubota. Now, we've only ever had John Deere skid steers. Back when I was junior's age, we had a John Deere 170, and then we had a 570, a 675, a 675B. I think the 570 and the 675, I think they were made by New Holland, and then when John Deere went to the 200 series, they started making their own skid steer, and then we had a couple of 250s, a 240, and then we moved up into the 318s, the 300 series. We went with 318Ds and then the E's, and now they're into the G series now. We never really had too much trouble. Arm's getting tired. We never really had too much trouble with the John Deeres. We just wanted to try something different. That's why we ended up going with this Kubota skid steer. Now, there is some slight differences in these 2 machines. Horsepower wise, they're the same size machine, somewhere around that 60 to 65 horsepower. The wheelbase is a little bit longer here on the Kubota by a couple inches, and the length of the machine, the 318G, is just a little bit shorter by about 6 inches. However, the machine and the series before this one was longer than this one, but I don't recall what the length was on that. The other differences between these 2 machines are the operator station. This machine here, Andrew will get inside it. We'll see if he can manage shutting the door. This machine here, here, I could pull it right from here. This machine here has the door that closes down in front of you, and then it ends up storing up above in the ceiling, and you can run this skid steer without, in other words, you could run it with the door either opened or closed. You can get to, hold on a second, you can get to all of your instruments and whatnot, starting and whatnot like that with the door up in the air. The older John Deere skid steers, like the 200 series, the door did the same thing, but the key switch was up in the cab and the door closed below it, and you had to close the door down to start the machine, release the park brake, then you could put the door back up again. But this machine here, you could lock the door up, leave it up. This machine's got AC and heat on it, along with that machine as well. Go ahead and jump in John Deere skid steer. The door on the John Deere skid steer opens outwards, and you got enough of an area to get in and out of the machine, but when we have that bucket on, sometimes we can't go all the way down, and when you're not all the way down, the door ends up hitting on the cylinder. We've broke a few doors. It's not too bad. It opens to about there. You know, if the guys press too hard on the door, they can break it, and then obviously you have to have the door shut in order to operate it. There is a switch on there that when it notices the door is open, it activates the park brake, and it doesn't allow you to go any farther with that. Now, serviceability and whatnot, the Kubota seems to be a little better as far as serviceability. All of the grease zerks are right and easy to get to. You've got the two there for the front bucket attachment, and you've got your various bucket arm, you know, grease zerks, the lift cylinder the top, lift cylinder the bottom, the hinge point for the rear hinge point, the lower rear hinge point here, upper rear hinge point there, and then you've got your linkage grease zerks there, and then that's it for grease zerks on the outside of the machine. And then to get into the engine compartment to service the engine, you got your oil filter and your battery, your oil drain hose here, and then there's a larger spot in the skid plate to clean debris out from underneath the engine. And you can almost see from the front, or from the back to the front, you can almost get in up to the foot pedal area. You got your filters here, your hydraulic filters, fuel filters, engine oil filter, battery. You can check the oil from this yellow dipstick here. Air cleaners right there. And then the other thing we noticed on this too, on the radiator hose, they got this little wire clip here, and they ended up putting a little hose on there to protect the radiator hose. Got your radiator up top. You could blow that out from up above, and then the fuel tank is on the back of the machine on this back door, and then you could access the fuel fill right from here. This does not have DEF on it, neither does this machine here. Now the John Deere is similar into how you get into the engine compartment. Your fuel fill is right there. Fuel filters, top and bottom, hydraulic, I believe that's hydraulic filter there, and then it's quite a bit tighter in here as far as getting into the engine compartment. Both skid steers, the cabs flip up on both skid steers. I'm not going to get into doing that right now. Got to open that back up. That drill's got to come down. But the grease zerk areas on this are almost as easy to get to as they are on the Kubota. There's a couple of hidden ones here. There's one down here that's kind of hidden. And as far as the other ones go, they are as easy to get to. Both of them have automatic detaching bucket pins on them. The Kubota has a hydraulic cylinder that unlocks the pins for the bucket. You can see that right there. The John Deere has an electric actuator, and the actuator on this, we've had trouble with all of them. The wires, they feed the wires through a hydraulic hose here, and just all the flexing, after a while it breaks them wires, and that ends up creating an issue. Like I said earlier, that skid steer we've had for just over 2 years, and it's got 3,300 hours on it, so we're putting a fair number of hours on these skid steers every year. So we ordered this skid steer with the Camso SKS 753s. We've gotten as many as 1,500 hours out of a set of these tires, and this machine is on concrete all the time. We really don't need that aggressive of a tire, but we want a tire that's going to last. Back a couple of models ago on the John Deeres, you couldn't order a heavy-duty tire on them, and a regular general purpose skid steer tire, we'd get about 300 hours out of them max. We were changing the tires out just as soon as we were doing an oil change on the earlier machines before we were able to order these more aggressive tires. We've also had good luck with the Galaxy Hulks. So there's three different tires that we run. We run a Camso SKS 753, about 1,500 hours on them, and the same for a set of Galaxy Hulks. You get about the same amount of hours on them, and that is machine is on concrete all the time. We did try out a set of Michelin bib steels. We haven't had these on long enough to figure out how many hours we're going to get out of them, but we have heard that you can get as many as, you can get over 2,000 hours out of them, and I did not look in the computer to see how many hours we've had on these so far. We don't need a real aggressive tire on concrete, but that does the job. So this is just kind of a basic walk around this new machine here. Again, we hadn't had any real bad luck with the John Deeres. We put a lot of hours on them. We have run into some issues where we had to replace engines, but that goes with the territory. We just wanted to try something different. We rent a track skid steer every year to pick stone with. In the last 3 years, we've rented a Kubota skid steer, and we had good luck with them on the rentals. And I was looking at these at the farm show, kind of like the design of them, and what kind of sold us is the access door, getting in and out. And my brother wanted to try one, so I said, hey, what the heck, what can it hurt? Let's go ahead and try one. There's not too many Kubotas on farms that we know of, so we thought we'd give it a try. This machine does have the 2-speed transmission on it. Slow speed goes as fast as the John Deere, and high speed goes like 12 miles an hour, I would have to guess. I ended up taking the button out of the joystick so that they couldn't kick it into high speed. So, well, that's going to do it for this video, folks. I want to thank you for watching, and we will catch you at the next one.